Hey there, all you Schmigadoon fans. Welcome back to Broadway by Ghostlight. I'm Mark Bonanni, and this is the final dance breakdown with Chris Gattelli for season 2 of Schmigadoon, aka Schmicago. I know, I'm super bummed too. The reason I'm combining the last 2 episodes of the season into one video is because there just wasn't that much choreography, at least major choreography, in these final episodes. But there were still lots of fun things to talk about with Chris in this video, like Famous as Hell, and There's Always a Twist, and the Kaput reprise. Plus, we talk a bit about the many places the show could go in hopefully future seasons. After the interview, I've got some info on when you can expect the season 1 Schmigadoon dance breakdowns with Chris and other fun videos, so make sure and stick around for that. But let's get to the man himself. Chris Gattelli, thank you so much for being back here on Broadway by Ghostlight.
Of course, of
I know
course.
fans have been itching to get into the last couple of episodes from this season, and what an exciting ending it was. So episode 5, we got some really great numbers. So first we have the biggest Welcome to Chicago reprise with Titus. Did you have much to do with staging that opening?
That was pretty. It was pretty quick because of what it was. So
Yeah,
not that much. I mean, we had just a general conversation before he did all of his like featured spots.
gotcha.
Like ideas and things to do. But yeah, that was a quickie.
And then the first big number is Melissa's Maybe It's My Turn Now, which Cecily absolutely destroyed.
Maybe these frightened feet will sneak into the night. Yes, there's no more maybe, 'cause baby, it's my turn now.
What was your hand in that?
Just being a supportive, loving fan collaborator. No, I mean, we gave her a little. I mean, we talked the same thing. We talked. It was a ballad, so and she was pretty much still. But we there were some references from Liza, of course.
Did you give her the clap?
No, she did. She did that. I mean, she was so dialed into that. I mean, like I always say, like when Keegan was watching her, he was literally all of us watching her. Like I actually we were in the room, actually off to the side in a banquet watching, and it was, I mean, she was just magic. It was so beautiful to watch her just do it. She was amazing.
Incredible. And now, was she singing live on set?
Yeah.
Was that the same from last season, that most times they were singing live on set, except for big group songs? And
It was a mix, more of a mix this year because of the editing. So I think so. It really was across the board. Like some were live, but if some were really edited, it was definitely to a track, but some were like, we're going to record it live, but then we'll do other versions where we'll sing back to the pre-record. So it was a lot of different.
Gotcha.
It was a little more varied this year, but.
So, and then the big number that involved almost the full company, I think everybody, Famous as Hell. Which is one of my absolute favorite songs in the whole series, which I know started off a bit different for you in concept.
Yes.
So let's get into Famous as Hell.
Yeah, well, I can definitely show you some fun pre-pro from that for sure. But I mean, because we were really riffing, as Cinco did, off the Jesus Christ Superstar, and we were doing a lot of like kind of dancing around him, and I was just like piling it on and piling it on. we part of it was just for us because we were so delirious putting all these together, and so like we had like feathered fans going and fire fans, and it was so much fun and silly. But it was really, I love where it landed because I didn't know that. I mean, at the end of the day, Cinco clearly had this like vision in terms of like the split screens and how they would all work, and I mean, that which was so genius. So there was a little bit, that's why we had the protests and things like that. But at the end of the day, it was kind of like, let's not do any real heavy dancing, because if we set it up, it's going to feel like, I don't know, like that we're building to something that we never get to. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a good experiment to try it for sure. I mean, you know, maybe you get to see a little bit of it, but you know, but it was really fun. It was fun to at least explore that path. But at the end of the day, it's one of my favorites too, for sure.
So good. I mean, Titus
sure.
absolutely
Titus, oh my God.
killing it.
Just
Yeah.
so good. And just like the way they, you know, like I was there for when Melissa Cecily like kicked the cocktail out of the guy's hand, and like, you know, with when she stood in for Dove, which I think is hilarious that she was still wearing her purple costume. But I just think
Right.
it's hilarious. I mean, it's so rich and leveled and detailed that, yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean, I just kudos to Cinco's brain for doing that. I don't know how he did it.
So was your dancing more like Simon Zelet's in feel when they're all like
Literally. Oh yeah. They were like all around Josh. I had him up on a podium and they were like, you know, Josh, you know, it's just,
yeah.
you know, it's all of that.
Amazing.
But it was fun.
And then There's Always a Twist is the final song for this episode. How was that diving into? I know you already did choreography from Promises, Promises, but now we're going full Promises, Promises.
There's always a twist that you've denied. You try to resist and save your pride. But there's always a twist that twists you up inside. Twist you up, twist you up, twist you up, twist you up, twist.
With this number. So how was it working with the three women?
Oh, they were great. I mean, we did the same thing. We did a bit of a previs for that, which was fun. Like we definitely had the third woman get a little more tipsy than the rest, and you know, a little late on certain moves and things like that. And so that was really fun to create in the room in New York, and then put on the three women there, because they brought their own stuff to it as well. And then that was just one of those amazing kind of, you know, Schmigadoon, Chicago moments where, like, you know, like we were doing it in the room and it was great and they were great. And then like they walked onto set in those costumes and I was like, what? I mean, it was so genius. I mean, come on. I mean, just with the color and the eyeshadow and just all of it. I was like, wow, I had no idea they were going to look that great. And just like in that club and worlds colliding and all of that was really fun. But it was a tricky one to do. That was a tricky sequence because, you know, we had to film Anne, but we had to film her, and the mirror was behind her. And then the sisters were on stage doing all of the handography, which we kind of had to keep general enough but specific enough so it wasn't the same thing over and over. I mean, it was the same thing over and over, but in a bed of that, because we didn't know where the edits were going to go, and it had to try to look somewhat in sequence, and knowing that, you know, seeing the mirror behind Anne, and they were kind of captured in that. And so it was a very interesting kind of putting the pieces together number. But it's another one of my favorite songs. I mean, they're all my favorite. I mean, Cinco can't write a bad song,
Right?
But it's such a that one's an earworm for sure. I mean, when I first played the demo, I was like, oh my God, I mean, just all that, just so good. So good.
I think we have some previs footage from that too.
Oh yeah,
which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, we shot a couple different angles because I wanted to give Cinco the option of like what part of the bar they're at. Are they on the side of Jaime? Are they like, I wasn't exactly sure the layout of the land, so to speak. So I just we just did it a whole bunch of different angles for him to look at. But yeah, I was really happy the way that turned out.
So good. And then did we talk about? I feel like you and I talked about the creepy twins in the back, but maybe not on camera. I don't remember, but those two women, the Bernstein twins,
yes,
was so random and hysterical. I mean, that must have been
So
what were
fun.
they like to I mean, were they just game for all of it?
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were absolutely game, and kind of the whole, it's another one of those interesting things about TV, and that like we had to like even like when the crowd was doing all the hand motions and everything, it's like you had to it's yep, you really have to kind of be specific, but so not specific because of editing and like how it fits with the music, and because people were singing live in certain moments, they're not even listening to the song, they're just hearing like a thump track,
Mhm.
so that the performer is singing live and they can capture that. So it's that episode had a lot of those moments in it, especially in the famous as hell sequence. But yeah, but they were great, and yeah, it was fun.
Well, let's just get into episode 6 since these last two episodes weren't too dance heavy as the last episode was with Talk to Daddy and Good Enough to Eat. That was, I mean, the
Yeah, that
peak.
was kind of the big, yeah, that was kind of the end of Act One, as it were, because I mean,
Yes, for
then it
sure.
led to all the drama unraveling, which was really great.
So good. So episode 6 literally starts with Over and Done, which I know I have literally not stopped listening to that song since the soundtrack dropped.
You don't want to say goodbye, but it's over and done.
Did you work with Ariana on that number?
A little bit, yeah. She came in. I mean, she came in with definitely her own ideas with that. But then she's such a pro and kind of like open to ideas and whatnot. And so like she wanted to match the girls with certain arm movements so she could feel connected to them. And she was like, "What are they doing?" So we went over some of their moves she could connect with. So it did kind of hold them together. And but what a dynamite performance too. I mean, she just same thing, just like dialed right in, and like it's stunning. They did it. I wouldn't say quite a few times. They did it quite a few times just to get the different angles and whatnot. But every time there wasn't like a bad take. I don't think the camera they could have picked any versions of that. It would have been stunning.
Wow.
It was lit so beautifully, and that stage was gorgeous, and our three women were just gorgeous. I mean, stunning. They just really were beautiful. And we had there were a lot of Easter eggs in there too. I mean, like the dream girl, the Effie White, that's such a deep cut for, I don't know, I think you caught it. You
Yeah,
texted
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I think you also like with, I did throw another Fosse Jesus reference in there. And but yeah, that was a fun one to, and then the Dream Girls poster we got in there, and then isn't the end, they reference their bums, a lot of things like that. And this is a deep cut too, but It's Over and Done is also like a Sweeney reference as well. So there were lots of lots of layers in that little.
God, man, you get like 80 Easter eggs in with, 2 minutes of background dancing. That's incredible.
But it's fun because it's fun to because they end up leading the way in a way. It's like all those little ideas kind of make room for the whole of it. So it was fun to even something as, I was like, oh, that's just kind of, this should be an easy one. But then it turned out to be like kind of like one of my favorite to choreograph, because it was like moment after moment after moment after moment of like, again, little Easter eggs here and there. But it was great. And they
So
were
you
so
started
good.
with the girls and then Ariana was put into it after.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Which was good because I wanted to make sure that it did look good on them, and that like what we had created like looked good. I mean, they looked good doing anything, but just that it kind of made sense and flowed. And so by the time Ari got there, it was like they were all good, and she just jumped right in.
And that was the same time she came and filmed her the Crack Club bit and that at the same
Yeah.
brief period.
And busting out. I mean, when she was there,
Busting out, right.
she worked her butt off. I mean, it was intense time for her, but especially because busting out, like, again, it was that we talked about this, but they were chained together and all of that. And so to kind of come in and like, have, be connected to, Dove and Cecily and doing all these tapping and stuff, but again, every single person on that show was so game. And so, but that's why I think it was such a nice, it seemed like at least such a nice release for her for Over and Done, just to be able to like stand at a mic and just like, I feel like I felt that from, just the enjoyment of like being able to just,
Yes.
stand there and just like live. Like I said, every take was stunning. So
She's amazing. I just attended my very first live Tony Awards that she just hosted, and they opened with the dance number. I don't know if you caught the opening. I mean, insane. When she dove off the stairs, I mean, all of us in the audience were gasping.
Fearless.
She's incredible. Hopefully in season 3, knock on wood, writer's strike ends and we get season 3, that so I get to show off even more.
Yes.
So then we have the Kaput reprise, which is one of my favorite songs as well. That is sadly not on the soundtrack.
He is kaput.
Yes, he's kaput. He ran the town and kept us down. Now the shoe's on the other foot. In mansions he did dwell, but now he's burning in hell.
Did you have much to do with that?
We did. I mean, like with Jane's leg on
the. Jane coming over with the chair. I mean,
but it was actually interesting because we shot that out of order. We shot that close to the beginning.
Wow.
So we shot, and we didn't shoot Kaput until was it the last number? It was one of the last numbers we shot. So it was actually really great to do that first, because it did inform choices that like I could pull and like flex some images into the number, knowing where we ended. So which was really, that's rare. So that was really kind of nice to go, oh, we're ending here and this is what's happening. So I was able to kind of like then kind of infuse a little bit of that into Kaput, which was great. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Jane definitely stole the show with her leg up and just eyes, that shark stare at the camera.
Were you surprised at the result? I know everyone had theories, and I haven't talked to you. I was so curious to
see. I mean, I was surprised.
Because you had very, very strong theories, and I was like, it was so
very strong theories.
It was so hard to be like,
people almost had me convinced that Joanne was going to be the wife, and I've had to ask Cinco if that was ever a possibility, because it seemed to work out quite well, but alas, that was, I love that, and the chandelier, and clearly a nod to hopefully where we're going, but we'll see. And then let's see the other songs. Oh, there's Something Real reprise, which is just Josh and Melissa singing at each other, which I'm assuming didn't need your expertise.
They're stunning actors.
And then they are indeed. I think that's the best they've sounded together. Right? I mean, it was a beautiful
and a gorgeous song
moment. And then we have the final song, Happy Beginning. Did you work much? I'm trying to think. It's really just standing and
they were saying goodbye. I mean, there was light. We tried to do some Schmigadoon, like just little kind of flecks of references, and making sure the kids were okay and all of that.
We're okay.
But that was just, it was a sweet ending.
Such a sweet ending, and shockingly well. It ended a little too well for my comfort. It ended. It really ended nicely, which didn't leave too much room for a season 3, story-wise. Though, I mean, obviously, when people tell me that, I say, well, Cinco's written like 8 Minions movies. I'm sure he can find a way to get into season 3. But it was a really nice bookend, and seeing Josh and Melissa in the real world.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
Bring their magic, bring the Schmigadoon magic back with them. Were you there for Martin Short on set at all?
No, he was green screen and all that kind of stuff. I think he was in New York. I'm not sure, or LA. I forget where he was when he did it. But yeah, they were they were solo sessions. But yeah,
Were
that
you in New
moment.
York where they filmed the end shot?
No, I wasn't. I forget where I was, but I wasn't there. I wanted to be because Cinco's in it.
I saw Cinco right away. Then I'm like looking for you. I was like, there's got to be more in there.
Which was so amazing. I love that he put himself in there. But
Next
yeah, no.
season, you get your cameo.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Well, that sadly is the end of season 2
Yes.
of Schmigadoon. Any final thoughts on the season as a whole that you haven't shared? I also know you want to thank some people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, I have my list. Yeah. I mean, I think generally it just was I was, I was really excited to see the kind of love for it, because I know some people were waiting and they wanted to binge it, and some people, so it was kind of fun to track the responses from the viewers and see how into it they were, and again all the theories and all of that. And it just felt it was just nice because we all kind of chat on our own. It was just nice to feel that love from everyone. Like it feels like all that work, because it was definitely more intense than season 1 for sure. I mean, it's in a different way. I mean, season 1 was just intense because of COVID. We talked about this, but the COVID of it all was just like, woo. But and there still was this season, but we all knew what we were getting into, so it wasn't as, that part wasn't as hard. But just the sheer amount. I mean, now that it's out, there's so many different things I can say now that everyone's seen it, but like, it's just the sheer volume of like just the shots and the editing and there were so many more numbers this year, and so many, I mean, in a great way. So it was like, the load was a lot more, but it was kind of in about the same amount of time we shot it. So it was really,
Wow.
it was really rapid. And that's why, and in the middle of that, it's kind of like, oh God, I hope, it's like you don't even have time to think about like, oh God, is this any good? Because you're just do it and you're on to the next one, because where normally I'm like, oh, I don't know, should we, it was just like, no, you just have to kind of like go and trust that it's all gonna work. And but yeah, like after seeing the edits, I was so excited about all of it. And then, and Chris with the underscore it just was so beautiful. And yeah, it just watching all of the department, like seeing all of their work together, like complete, was such a joy to go, wow, like it really was worth all of that. Like everyone was really all in. And so that was kind of amazing. But
It really, the whole package, the whole thing is so good. It's so good on its own. It's so good with season 1. They work so well together. A friend of mine asked me, if I wanted to, something that's popular on YouTube is like listing or ranking all the ranking things, and they were like, "Do you want to come rank all the songs from Chicago?" And it's like, they're all going to be, there's literally not a clunker in the group, music wise, cast wise, choreography wise. I mean, they're all stellar, top tier. I mean, there's
yeah,
literally not a dud.
there really isn't. I mean, there really isn't. And that's why, like you bring up another song and it's just like, oh, that one was so good too. Like you forget, because it's like you just remember the last one you heard maybe, but like you going back to the beginning with Kaput or it's like they're all so good. I mean, like
So good.
it was so, yeah, it was incredible. And I have to say, the writing this season 2 is how they managed to get this whole mystery and killing. I mean, just all the levels of it this year were like so rich, and it was amazing. I feel like it perfectly matched the era, the way the first season perfectly matched the era. Just was love and romance and finding and just the layers that they wove in this season, just, and also so economically, like just so, and it was so efficient, and like you got every character and so yeah, it just, like, it goes it's like a half hour, it goes by so fast with
So
35
I can't, 6 episodes. I can't. I don't know how y'all did it. I mean, to have such an expansive story with like 18 songs or something crazy like that, and
oh my gosh,
in
yeah,
what's basically 3 hours.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a work of it's a masterful work from all of you.
Oh,
So congratulations.
thank you. Thank you.
So here's a question. Now I know I'm sure you're in Cinco's inner circle and know some things about season three, but if you could turn that part of your brain off, where dance wise would you love to, not necessarily even next season, but future seasons, where would you dance wise love for the show to go so you get to play around in those worlds a little bit? Anything you're really hoping for?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I was just saying the other day, it's like where we're heading is actually now we're like if it keeps going in this kind of chronological order, like where it's heading is now actually the shows I've been in. Like now it's getting really close to the best. So it's like, you know, because I've done Cats and I've done all the, I was 80s, 90s shows, like that's when I was dancing. So I was, that's so if it ends up going there, I mean, I don't even, it's just it's still a bounty, it's interesting though, because I wouldn't say that I mean, I'm sure there are, but I don't know. It's like it's a little less iconic dance wise than like, because the 80s and 90s came the big British musicals with, Les Mis and Saigon and Phantom, and the sets started to become bigger and the productions became bigger, and so and a lot more drama and darkness and whatnot. So I'm curious if there is a season three, like where, like how that's going to navigate, because sure, there are definitely like like Cats and Will Rogers Follies. I mean, and I mean, it's, you can't even just begin. I can't even begin to make the list, but it's like, you're getting into that kind of territory. My one and only, I mean, Tommy had how many Tonys he won in that era, and Susan Stroman.
Yes.
I mean, it's like there are so many, there's still so much amazing dancing that was happening, but I wouldn't say that it was like as iconic as much as like those director choreographers, like a Fosse, like a Bennett, like a, so it started to kind of split a little bit,
Yeah,
but but there,
absolutely.
but there's definitely there's definitely stuff that I
Have to
would
get
like to get my
your
hands on. If I
get your turntableography going.
I did write single wish list if there ever should be option.
I also have a theory that maybe we'll go in a different direction and it'll be like movie musicals or film or animated, uh, genre.
Well, I like your Halloween idea. I mean, this can really
There's
splinter into so many different worlds.
totally.
He came up with a world that can really do anything in terms
Yeah,
of musicals. So there's so many different genres, and so that's what I'm excited to see where his brain goes. I mean, it's limitless.
so exciting. Pay the writers, people.
Yes, please.
End the strike so I can.
Please.
I, we all need this season three. So as I said before, I know you've got lots of people you wanted to thank, and I am all here for that. So
No, thank you. No, I appreciate that, because it's like I always, like I wouldn't be, the numbers wouldn't be what they are, I wouldn't be as what I've given if it wasn't for the talent that performs all the numbers. So I mean, and I know you're so great about calling people out, and there's so many in the ensemble of Schmigadoon, I mean Chicago, but between the cast and the kids, I mean, that's just like a thank you and a shout out to all of them, because they worked their butts off to make it all happen. I mean, it shows, because you see it. It's nothing there's no smoke and mirrors there. I mean, that's all them. And, they were the ones that kept lifting those numbers. And I mean, the quantity of numbers this year too. And they were just amazing. And I always think back on, like, not because they were the biggest, like fullest, but just in terms of like a Talk to Daddy, which was literally an all skate, or Welcome to Chicago, which was an all skate, meaning like it was all the dancers were in them, and then all the kids in Good Enough to Eat. I mean, there were so many in the best way, and they just all were like, oh, we're dancing in the rain, we'll get it, or we'll lie on the ground for this shot for a half hour while you light it. And they were like, okay, like we won't bonk our heads in the bus, and we won't like going back down memory lane. Like the way they performed, and just the care they took of each other, and the care they took of the material, and the love they have for the show, I think is also evident in their performances. Like so just that's a huge thank you to them, because we wouldn't be talking probably if it wasn't for their talent. And then I like two other groups of shout outs. Like one, I wanted to like pay a big shout out to all of the dancers in the pre-pro, because here's a group of people who are friends and colleagues and peers who I've worked with, and who it's a beautiful thing. That's why I like this community, whether it be theater or TV and film. Like the dance community in general, I think is a special thing. It's a special family that so you have performers in New York who come in for 2 weeks knowing that they're not even going to get to be on the show. They're doing it because they love to do it. They love to be in a creative process, and like they're so giving and generous. And that means so much as an artist to like, it's like, oh, I can't use you for the thing, but do you mind? It's like, oh my God, no, like, let's do it. Let's, and they're in there, and you see it on the previs, like just giving their all every time. I mean, it's just, and it means so much, because that's because of their work, we got to do what we did, because they essentially were kind of selling the ideas in a way to put forward. So I've like, in no order, I tried to, but Zachary Berger, Atali Marvel, Joe Beauregard, Sydney Ali, Maya Abney, Patrick Andrews, Amber Owens, Sean Rosansky, Alfie Parker, Ryan Kempfer, Bethany Tesseract, and Olivia Cece. That group that is who you've been seeing on those previs. And they gave their sweat, their bodies, their soreness, making puppets in their spare time. Like, okay, we have a project, everyone make some puppets. It was that kind of energy in the room. And it was such a special, I probably have photos I can post too of just like that family. And because it was such a special, like 2.5 weeks, whatever we had together, that I think that joy was kind of transferred into the film. And so that was special. And then the final group, who all of my right arms, who helped literally like put all of this together with me and them, Michael Williams, Lou Castro, Bethany Pettigrew, Stephen Binsky, Erica Hunter, Haley Pashoon, and Rochelle Rack, just sitting around the table, coming up with ideas, running to whatever store was nearby to pick up props and bring them into the studio and load things in and load them out and film and light. And so that group, it's like, I don't know how many arms a person can have, but they were all kind of my right arm in this. And they were amazing, and they're friends as well as colleagues and peers. And so all of those people I just mentioned, it's like, and I love that people get to see the previs, because you actually see the work that goes into what you see on the screen. And it's literally all of those people who, again, like there's no investment in it for them other than just getting in a room together and having fun, and hopefully, being a part of something bigger. And that means so much to me. And I know the cast and Cinco and the whole team are appreciative of them too, because, it makes everyone's job so much easier to see, because it's something you can't do. I can't describe a number how I'm going to do it necessarily. Right. I can't sell an idea like, oh, but it's going to do this. When you see the work by these amazing artists, it's like, that's when things become real. And that's when things get like a green light, or that's when, oh no, we're going to get all those shots and talk to daddy, or we're going to do this, because of these amazing humans and their work. So thank you for letting me shout out to them, because it means a lot to me personally. And I know it means a lot to the show, but it means a lot to me personally. So
no, thank you for shouting them out. I mean, that's one of the greatest joys from this season, has been able for me to see these previs, the footage, and to share them, be able to share them. So thank you to you and Stephen Binsky for allowing us to see that, because that is just, it's so cool. It's so great to see the process. And yeah, I mean, without these previous dancers and these things. I mean, with the time crunch you had, I mean, you'd have to diminish the numbers. I mean, tenfold. You would have so little time to figure things out. There's no way it could have been done without these dancers.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing to see to be able to see their work and celebrate them with these breakdowns here. So thank you, and I thank you for your amazing work this season. I mean, I Emmys all around. Knock on wood. It's truly a feat. Truly, you guys have made. I mean, one of my favorite musicals. Like not just TV show, not just. I mean, it's like really one of my favorite musical theater entities is Schmigadoon, season 1 and season 2 as an entity. I mean, it really is truly special, and hopefully it will continue. But I mean, rest assured, every season, God forbid if it doesn't. I mean, it's so perfect as it is. And that's a testament to you and to Cinco and everybody involved. So thank you.
Thank you. It's knowing that, again, knowing it's appreciated is, and knowing that people love it as much as we do, and people get all the special little references that we do, and it means a lot that like people are watching that with that kind of focus and detail, and so that does mean a lot for sure. So thank you.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to the end of our season 2 dance breakdowns. But if you're still interested, we're still hoping to dive into season 1 with you at some point and get into all that goodness. I'm still dying to see the pigs dance break, and get into some 40s and 50s musicals with you at some point. So we'll have to figure that out and
Well,
get that out. That'll be a ton of fun.
Oh, just that that's a whole other, doing a one take. This is, I mean, if people want to come back for this alone, watching the one take of like 6 people in a room doing the one take of Tribulation in a railroad studio, that alone is worth
That alone, yes. Holy moly, we can do a whole episode about Tribulation.
Literally, but it happened, and it happened.
So lots more Schmigadoon content
Yes.
to come. But thank you not only for your work on the show, but thank you for taking the time to come onto this little channel and share your insights and your joy and your love with me and with the fans. And we really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
And you've got so many amazing things on the horizon. I mean, film and stage and all sorts of things. We can't wait to keep celebrating you.
And the Schmigadoon reunion, Titus and Jane, I'm directing their Audible series at the Minetta Lane at the end of July. So if you're in the area, I'm not sure. I think tickets are tough, but come on down and see the two.
I will be doing my best to get a seat for that.
So much fun.
For sure.
Yeah, little
amazing
Schmigadoon reunion. So
and those two together, I mean, forget it. Forget it. Well, I guess until we meet again back in Schmigadoon,
yes.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much to Chris for doing these interviews with me. I hope I speak for all of you when I say it's been so fascinating to hear how the dance elements of this amazing show came together and all of the thought and love put into every single step. It's all so extraordinary. Another massive thank you, of course, to Steven Binsky, who, besides working with Chris on the show, was the one helping to get that amazing previs footage that we all got to enjoy. So thank you, Steven, for that. And I do want to echo Chris and thank not only the cast and crew of the show, but also the previs team and the performers. everyone involved in this production have been so gracious and not only allowed this footage to be seen by all of us fans, but they also shared other rehearsal footage and behind the scenes pictures with me, therefore you guys, and we've all been enjoying them so much from these breakdowns. At least I have. I hope you have too. I cannot wait to dive into season 1 of Schmigadoon with Chris, and we will begin filming those in July, and I will get them out to you as soon as possible. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell, and you'll be notified as soon as those start premiering. As I mentioned before, my next Broadway breakdown I'm working on is Annie Warbucks, the crazy sequel to Annie. It's coming. I'm sorry it's taking me so long, but I am working on it and hopefully we'll get that out to you guys soon. If you have any other suggestions for videos you'd like to see on the channel, let me know down in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at bwayghostlight. There's a link in the description if you want to check out some fun Schmigadoon inspired merch. And of course, there's a link to my Patreon if you want to support this channel even more. A huge shout out, of course, to my producer level patrons. I am always so thankful for all your support. Like this video, subscribe, all that jazz. But until next time, my friends, I'm Mark Bonanni. This is Broadway by Ghostlight. Thanks for watching.